Hello everyone, Vincent here. Today we will be talking about this little thing. So, what is this? This is a variable power supply kit that I got on AliExpress for a mere 56 cents. But 56 cents for a variable power supply seems a bit too good to be true, right? Well, it's actually a pretty neat thing, and there aren't as many bad sides to it as you'd think. But I will start with the bad sides. So, first of all, here's my biggest quibble about it. They are using a 10 kiloohm potentiometer, which is fine, but it would be much nicer if this potentiometer was swapped out for a trimmer. Now, what a trimmer is, it's pretty much the same thing as potentiometer, but it has some extra little mechanical bits inside of it that allow it to spin a lot of times, so it doesn't really change values very fast, but it can be used to set a precise value, which would be more important than this. And most commercial power supplies have a coarse knob and a fine knob, which allow much better precision for the voltage that you want. So that's my first thing about it, and also, notice it says that it can take 5 to 30, if you can see that, it can take 5 to 36 volts DC. Now, that, I don't believe that, because it could probably do it, but look at the value on the side of this capacitor. 25 volts. And on this capacitor, also 25 volts. So, I wouldn't trust it to take 36 volts, because these capacitors would probably go... You know what I mean by that, if you've watched any of Electro Boom's videos. But anyway, that's pretty much all the downsides to this. And let's start getting into the good things about it. So, referencing Electro Boom again, you see these 4 diodes arranged over here? These form a full bridge rectifier. So, that means that it can take in AC or DC voltage, as you can see by the AC rating. And also, if you have a DC power supply like this, you can put it in any way. If I can get that. It can go in that way, and it can go in that way. And it doesn't really care, it just accepts it, because that's the magic of the voltage regulator. Also, I appreciate that they decided to add a heatsink to this voltage regulator, because the voltage regulator gets very hot when drawing a lot of current from it. As an example, I built this supercapacitor charger a couple months ago to charge my supercapacitors instead of just 2 dodgy AA batteries. And at near the end of the charge process, this voltage regulator gets hot enough to melt the hot glue around it. So probably not going to last for very long. And when charging up a supercapacitor, this heatsink does get hot, but if it's hot enough that you can rest your hand on it for a couple seconds, or maybe just a second, then it's definitely not hot enough to melt hot glue, and it's definitely a lot easier on the voltage regulator. So, the last good thing about it, well, first of all, I have to give credit that they took the time and effort to make the traces very nice and thick. And the thick traces can carry a lot more current than the thin traces that you would find on your Arduino boards, if you can even see it. You see, you wouldn't expect those to carry a lot of current, but these are a lot bigger, a lot beefier, and should be a lot better. Also, the price. This thing is just 56 cents. And if you prefer to not go through the trouble of soldering all the little joints and just want a cheap variable power supply, then you can also get a fully assembled version that is pretty much with a lot more surface mount components. That is only around 50 cents more, so still $1 for a variable power supply, very good, but just 56 cents? I mean, this is probably an excellent deal, and I would highly recommend it. So, that concludes my review on the AliExpress variable power supply based on the LM317 voltage regulator. Bye bye!